This is solving inequalities using addition or subtraction. We're going to start with addition. The addition property of inequality says that when you add the same number to each side of your inequality, the inequality remains true. This is just like equations. So if I'm trying to solve an inequality like x minus 3 is greater than 1, I always start on the side with my variable, which in this case is x, and I have an x minus 3. If I want to get x by itself, I'm solving for x, I need to get rid of the minus 3. And I can do that by using my inverse operations. The opposite of minus 3 would be to add 3. But I need to do it to both sides of my inequality. So on the left side, I'm going to add 3, and on the right side, I'm going to add 3. Here it will cancel out, and I'm left with x. And on this side, 1 plus 3 gives me 4. For my final step here, I'm just going to take my inequality symbol and bring it down. So the values for my variable x are anything that is larger than 4. If I'm asked to graph that, I need to compare my x variable to the number 4. So I'm going to put 4 right in the middle of my number line. I'm going to put a few numbers greater than 4 and a few numbers smaller than 4. And at 4 exactly is where I'm going to make my circle. In this case, I don't see any equal sign with my inequality symbol, so I'm going to do an open circle at 4. And then I have to think about, would numbers like 5 and 6 satisfy x, or numbers like 2 and 3? Well, it says x is greater than 4, so I'm going to highlight 5 and 6 and anything bigger than 4, including my arrow here. Really make that side stand out. Let's try another one. So here I have x is greater than or equal to x minus 1. So again, I find my variable. Here it is, x. And I have x minus 1. To get rid of the minus 1, I'm going to add 1 to each side. Here, my minus 1 and plus 1 will cancel out. 10 plus 1 is 11. On this side, I'm left with x. And I just carry down my inequality symbol. So in this case, I have 11 is greater than or equal to x. I'm going to put 11 on my number line and a few numbers larger than 11 and a few smaller than 11, but 11 is where my circle is going to go because that's the number I'm directly comparing to x. In this case, I'm going to do a closed circle because I see it can be equal to 11. So I'll put my circle there and close it up. Also says that 11 is greater than x. So that means x is smaller than 11. So numbers like 9 and 10 could be my value of x. So I'm going to shade everything to the left here. Everything smaller than 11, including my arrow. Really make it shaded, make it stand out. Okay, let's try a couple more problems. This time we're going to look at subtraction. The subtraction property of inequality says that when you subtract the same number from each side of your inequality, the inequality remains true. So it's the same process. We're just looking at problems where we're going to be using subtraction to solve them. So in this case, I have 15 is greater than or equal to 6 plus x. X is my variable, and I got to get rid of a plus 6 there. So I'm going to subtract 6 from each side. In this case, the 6's cancel out. I'm left with x, and 15 minus 6 is going to leave me with 9. And I'm going to carry down my inequality symbol. My inequality symbol doesn't change at all. I'm just bringing it down. So I know I have to compare my x to 9. So I'm going to put 9 in the middle, a few bigger and a few smaller numbers here. And I'm going to do a closed circle at 9 because I see it can be equal to 9. X can be equal to 9. It says 9 is greater than or equal to x. So if 9 is greater, x is smaller. So everything smaller than 9 is to the left. So 7 or 8 could be x here. So I'm going to highlight everything, shade it going this way. All right, one more here. Y plus 2 is less than 17. So y is my variable, and I've got to get rid of the plus 2. So I'm going to subtract 2 from each side. So I have y here, 15 here. I just bring down my inequality symbol. So I have y is less than 15. So 15 is the number I'm comparing to. Make sure that one's on your number line. And 15 is where my circle is going to go. This time it will be an open circle. I don't see an equal sign there. And it says y is less than 15. So again, less than goes to the left. 13 and 14 are less than 15. So everything this direction gets shaded. And now for one real life example. So a flea market advertises that it has 250 vending booths. Sorry, more than 250 vending booths. So 250 vending booths. And it says that 184 are currently filled. There's some empty ones, and we're trying to find the empty ones. It wants to know how many are still available. So I'll call them B for booths. So 184 plus B has to be more than 250. They have greater than 250, more than 250. So if we want to solve this, I want to solve for B, how many booths are empty. So I'm going to subtract the 184, get rid of 184. These cancel out. 250 minus 184 leaves me with 66. And I bring down my inequality sign. So the number of empty booths is at least 66 empty booths. So empty booths are greater than 66, so more than 66.